Hey guys, my name is E. I'm a professional sports videographer and I've been one for over 16 years at this point. And through those years, I've been in many sports videography job interviews, both as an interviewee and an interviewer. So I want to use all that experience to let you know exactly what not to say during those interviews. First thing first, as a general rule, you need to make the interview a lot more about them than you think, because obviously job interview, people are there to talk about themselves, but sometimes it becomes sort of a trap and you end up talking a lot more about what you need and what you want than you should. Instead, you should talk about what they need and how you can help them with that. So that leads me to the first thing I think you should not say, which is that you are that team's number one fan. Because guess what? Everybody is, right? Especially if you're applying for a job in your hometown. It's most likely the team that you've been following since you were like 6 years old. So of course, when you're gonna start the interview, you're gonna say something along the lines of like, you guys have no idea. I've been a fan of this team since I was 3. My dad's a fan, my granddad's a fan. Like, we love this team. I breed this team. This job would be a dream come true, all that stuff. First of all, everybody says that, so this is not the flex that you think it is. Second of all, that's not what you should be leaning on. And I'm not saying you shouldn't say that you love the team. What I'm saying, instead of leaning on the love you have for the team, you should lean on the knowledge that you acquire through those years being a fan. For example, you know all the players, you know the brand, you know the values. So if you can bring in the conversation during your interview, talk about the brand, talk about the team values and how you would incorporate them in your videos and what your vision is through all that, that is going to be very impressive to a potential employer, way more so than someone that just says, this is my dream job. By the way, to get the interview in the first place, my advice is to not focus on your resume too much. I would keep it way short and to the point. Instead, I would spend a lot more time on your portfolio because that's what people really care about. They don't really want to know where you went to school and what grades you had. No one cares about that stuff. What they want to see what you're able to do right now. So they want to look at your stuff and go, right, I like this. I want more of that into what we do. And they're going to hire you or at least give you an interview based on that information. So make sure your portfolio is ready to go, that all your best work is in there. You don't want to have to find excuses for your videos that you're showing to people. If you're starting to talk about, we weren't paid that much or we were rushed, there was not enough time, that's why the video is not what it could have been. Like, this is not the conversation you want to have when you're showing your portfolio. So none of that stuff, just the best of the best. Ideally, it's on a dedicated Instagram page or a YouTube channel that you can easily send a link to people so that way they can have a look. And by having all your best work in there, it doesn't matter which video they look at. It's all great. It's all stuff that you're proud of. And that's how you get jobs or at least interviews in sports videography. Another thing you do not want to do in a job interview in sports videography is sound desperate. For example, in any interview at some point, you'll be asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years or in 10 years? And a lot of the times, like I said at the beginning, because it's like a dream job, people have a tendency to say, oh, I just want to be doing this for the rest of my life. This is the perfect job. And of course, if you give me, opportunity to do more, I'll be happy to do it, but this is it. This is what I want, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing that job for the rest of your life, but you should come in with a plan, but like a respectful plan. So what I mean is basically you want to say that, yes, right now, where you are in your career, you have the skills, the knowledge, and you're ready to do this job and you want to do this job and you're ready to do this job. But eventually you hope that you'll be at a point after 5 or 10 years where you'll have accumulated enough experience to now be part of a bigger conversation and be part of the creative process a bit more and helping with deciding the direction of the brand and things like that. And you don't necessarily want to call out jobs like I want to be the creative director or things like that, because the creative director is probably the person sitting across the table. So you don't want to offend anyone, but you just want to mention that you know exactly around what circles you want to be in that organization in the next 5 to 10 years. By the way, for those who don't know, I do manage a Facebook group called the Sports Videography Community. And in that group, I often share sports videography jobs. These are jobs that I find on Twitter and that sometimes people share with me. So I'm happy to put them in the group. So if you're a sports videographer and you're looking for work or you just want to be aware when a new job pops up, I highly recommend that you join our Facebook group, the Sports Videography Community. Another thing you don't want to do is talk down about other teams' sports videography. So like sometimes a lot of people do that. They'll walk into an interview and they'll talk about the crosstown rival and talk down about what they do and say that it's shit and this and that. And they think that it makes them sound cool and that, we both hate this other team. So let's talk trash about them and that way we can bond. Doesn't really work like that, especially not at a job interview, especially that there's probably a lot of people on that staff that they know. Maybe they came from there. It's very in poor taste. You're probably just gonna look a bit like an idiot if you try to impress them by trashing other teams. So just don't do it. And professionalism is something that you should always keep in mind no matter what you do, because having these conversations during your interview, you're not only assessed on what you're saying, but also on your demeanor, the way you interact with people. Because one thing, for example, that they'll assess, like I said, professionalism, like they'll try to find out how much of a professional you are. If you keep talking like you're a fan and you're a bit low class when it comes to talking about other people, then it's a bit scary to have you around professional athletes. The last thing they want is someone who's going to go out of pocket and start asking for autographs for their moms or take selfies with players when it's inappropriate to do so. So keep in mind that they're assessing everything about you. So, be professional. And if you're so up and coming that you're still trying to figure out where to go to school and how to learn sports videography, click on the video on your screen right now, which is a great one with my man Pete Gottschalk, who went to the University of Georgia and is now working full-time for MLB.